for clarity, you too, watching or listening to this on iTunes or YouTube, you never know where you can be in 4 years. He was not a speaker. He was not an educator. He was not in that spot then. That progress anyone can achieve if they are committed and have intention and take action. Yo, what is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Science Flipping Podcast. As you are watching this on YouTube, by the way, if you're not, make sure to go subscribe on YouTube. I have a friend of mine, a killer real estate investor, awesome contractor, and just overall really good businessman, Nick Marietta, sitting with me today. Thank you for joining me on my podcast, bro.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's going to be a good one.
Let's go. So, one of the most intense human beings anyone will ever meet. So if you get the pleasure of meeting this man, just know you're in for an intense conversation. But let's just kind of start off with how we met and kind of the transition of what I've been able to see you and even myself in life and, where we met and then where we are today, just a couple years later.
Yep, absolutely. So main thing I want to say in the podcast is how you and 𝐁𝐂𝐑 changed our lives and my business partner, Adam. And I really want to emphasize what we talk about today on how one event, inspiration, and action got me where I'm at. Along with, I was already successful in doing many things, but it completely changed my life, not only as a business, but as a person and also my health.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things that helped. So
I mean, dude, your fitness is on point, bro. I can see it clearly. Yeah. Strong, lean. Brother, first of all, we come from the same wardrobe artist, if you will, between our barbers, and our color matching is phenomenal.
Yeah, I called to see what you were wearing today.
That's right. Yep. For sure. Your wife pointed that out, which, by the way, part of your progress is new marriage. I'm recently married. It's been a real kind of cool transition between our lines.
For sure. So I'd like to start by saying thank you for all you've ever done for us.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'll tell the audience where I met you. So I actually met you at the, was it the Fix and Flip Summit in 2018?
Yeah, either that. Yeah, one of the events. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
It was the Fix and Flip Summit. And you were a person that really intrigued me by your energy, your morals, and just your integrity and how you really cared about people, not just about selling something or whatever. You really put your heart into things.
Yeah.
And that's really why I started my venture with you and started my relationship with you. And we went to that summit. It was me and my partner, Adam, and I was broken in life. I was flipping a few homes. I own a big construction company. I'd made a lot of money doing that. I didn't realize I was broken in my heart and I was broken here. And I really wanted to change my life. And at that point, when I met you, I seen you speak on stage, and you completely just hit a note with me. And it wasn't long after that event, I had you in our office, and I wanted to learn how to start wholesaling, right? Mm-hmm. At a high level. And I remember when you came to our office for a day. Remember I picked you up and dropped you off?
Absolutely. I remember that day clearly.
Flew back. We did a Facebook Live. It's still on my Facebook. And you should actually go find that Facebook Live at Nick Marietta, and tell you why, because you'll see where I was and where I am now. And then you should find his journey around the same point, and that would tell you why you want to get around people like us.
Yeah, 100%. So first of all, make sure everyone knows where to follow you. Instagram, Facebook, everywhere.
Yep, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter is The Real Nick Marietta. It's The Real Nick Marietta.
Boom. Yeah, that was a fun, interesting time, right? You were going through a lot, which maybe at the time you weren't aware of what you were going through maybe. And you hired me to come in for that day and consult with you guys and lay out the model. And you were like, when I say you are one of the more intentional people I've ever met, like you literally looked me dead in the eye and said, I'm going to create $1 billion company.
Yep. And
I just said, well, cool. Let me be a part of that, right? But dude, I mean, from where you are then and where you're headed right now, brother, like if someone says, is Nick going to do it? And I'm going to tell them, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because at that point I had probably about $500,000 in assets, and today I have almost 80 million. And our revenue of all of our companies is almost 250 million in 2022.
Jeez.
And we're on path to be at $1 billion company by 2025.
Isn't that great?
It's
but
great.
It's not one thing, right?
No, it's all the way from construction to homes to I have my airlines business now. I bought a jet, all kinds of things.
I love that.
Diversification
is huge, right? I believe in two things that I'll mention. Everyone's heard this CIA, which you are like the example of: commitment, intention, and action.
Yep.
CIA. If you want to know what that means, look up The Real Nick Marietta, right? But the other thing is the ability to network and have purpose, and your ability to find the right people, circle around the right people, and diversify what you're doing and not be a one-trick pony. I mean, you are the highlight of that, right? I mean, to your whole point, like now you have an airline, aviation type of industry. So I want to give you a lot of kudos on that, because you're not just a one-trick pony. You're not just what everyone likely sees as construction, right? High-end flips, you know, making all this money on that side. There's so much more that you've been able to build over the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, the first thing I did is I had to fix me.
Yeah.
Okay. I was broke there, and I wasn't diversified with me, and I was broke here. So first, my heart was broken, my marriage was broken, and my life was broken. So when I met you, you were a very big inspiration to me. And then I had some health issues, and then I got in a car accident. So I've had like 3 or 4 major setbacks. Mm-hmm. But the fact of how you inspired me and how I seen you live your life and the way that you consistently did things. You go to the gym in the morning, you show up every day and you do X, and you're committed to the consistency of doing it. I knew that if I could just follow somebody's lead like you and watch, for example, I watched every move you did. I studied you. And by studying those moves is what made me consistent, because when I met you, I wasn't consistent. I was committed, but I wasn't consistent. I wasn't consistent with the gym. I wasn't consistent with self-development. I wasn't consistent with my family. I wasn't consistent with my religion. And I definitely wasn't consistent with my business. I worked hard, but I wasn't consistent with it. And that was one thing that you really brought home to me, was setting up systems and being consistent with it. And you'll get there. I was always trying to get there by like putting the foot on the gas pedal and just thought it was going to happen. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't work that way. You have to have the foot on the gas pedal, but at a balance, and learn what all of those things are. You can't just have business, because I was just a businessman. And today I've grown so much from where that was, that is really what made the difference, was the blend of all that. Then the blend of the business was like that. So if you could figure out the time, I was like 3 businesses, and my life was broken.
Yeah.
Today, with those 5 commitments, if I'm consistent with those, and each one of those have 5 things, like I have 11 businesses. So you start spiderwebbing, all of a sudden now you're consistent at 100 things, and those things start multiplying.
Yep.
Okay. And that's where the real wealth and growth across the board, not the bank account, across the board of those 5 things really start.
Even as simple as you being committed to health, right? Like even just working out minimally every day.
Yep.
It just changes how you're thinking, the mood you're in, which changes how much you're willing to work. Are you willing to put 10 hours in versus 7 hours? Are you willing to, just the little small micro commitments that you give yourself will continue to give confidence in yourself, because you're holding the promise you're making yourself. I'm going to the gym tomorrow. And if you wake up and don't go to the gym, what happens? Well, now you're like, not depressed, but you know, you're disappointed in yourself. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. On top of that, you don't go and get that serotonin release by going and working out. So like, you're totally right. The people that I've been able to see, including myself, by the way, I sit in the same type of seat, right? Like if I'm not consistent with working out, if I'm not consistent with my spiritualness, if I'm not like, my business doesn't exactly crush it. But as I dial that in, next thing you know, it all grows, dude. I mean, you're hitting it right on the head about where success really comes from. It's not just you go work hard. That was Nick Marietta 5 years ago. He worked his ass off. Broken marriage, broken mentally, broken spiritually, right? Yep. Now I look at this man, I'm just proud. I'm like, dude, this guy's a totally different guy. Way more successful financially, but beautiful wife, right? Yep. Healthy, more fit than I've ever seen you. Like just the whole change is because you made those minor commitments to yourself first.
Yep. You know, first of all, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't love yourself, you're not going to love anything you do, and you won't have anything beautiful in your life.
There you go.
Because you think it's beautiful. You know, I was overweight and I was like, oh, my life's perfect. Didn't matter if I was overweight. Oh, it's fine. You know, whatever. But all those things start catching up with you if you ignore them. And you just can't let things go that really matter, and especially what matters to you.
That's right.
What really matters to somebody and they don't understand is them.
Yep.
You want to know why? Because if they don't believe in themselves, nothing matters to them.
Yep.
What everybody else thinks matters to them.
And I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole. It's all about what people think, right? That's all people care about. But like, that is quite literally, Gary V's the best at that message, right?
Yep.
Who cares what people think? That's the reality.
Yep.
Right? And don't get me wrong. Just like you, I like nice stuff.
Yeah.
You have the rolls, you have the plane, I wear expensive stuff. Like, fine.
Yep.
But there's a level of, I'm doing that because it makes me feel good to be able to do it. Just like it makes you feel good to be able to do it. To provide the lifestyle, to jump in a plane that can literally is a time travel machine, right? You can get there faster, save time. All those things are nice, but if people are doing it for the wrong reasons, it only magnifies, you know, their lack versus abundance.
Well, not only that, but what happens is as you do that, you start inspiring more people, and it's really about changing people's lives and showing them how to do it. Because in today's world, everybody thinks like, I can't do that. I'm not going to have that on whatever. It's just like I just watched Chris Crone, a good friend of mine, and literally he's like, it's all in front of you. It's all available.
Yep.
And, you know, that's his saying, not my saying. But it's so true that if you say, oh, I can't have that, it's so false. It's all a belief.
Yep.
You know, period. So as you fast forward and you go through these things and whatnot, where are you 4 years later from when you met me? What's changed in your life?
So much, right? I mean, just like you, you work on yourself the same way I would work on myself, right? So I'm now married. When you met me, I was the single, you know,
Playboy
in the little party boy and having fun. Now I'm married. Now I have a kid. I moved across the country to Miami, Florida.
Yep.
I'm still very, very, very heavily into real estate, right?
Yep.
Doing it more nationally than localized to Phoenix.
Yep.
Buying rentals. The big game I want to get into is Airbnb now.
Yep.
You know, so all those transitions are seasons, and you know, it's been fun, but you have to be open to those seasons, because in those seasons there's tough days, tough weeks, tough months. But man, life is just a beautiful thing that it's always about being present, being in the moment, appreciating the moment, being able to reconnect with you like this after 3 years probably without really communicating much.
It's been, about 2. It was 2020.
Yeah,
we're still working with you in 2020. Yeah, we were doing wholesale.
You know, it's fun to be at. You know, we're at an incredible event with our guys, Carlos and Sal, and you know, Chris Crone's here, and Jerry Norton's here, and Steve, and just so many great people. So life is fun, man. Life is a brilliant place.
Yep. If you had to say one thing to your viewers of what you've taught me, and the way you've seen me change, because I know you impacted my life, what would that be?
That's a good question. I kind of said it already. Like, your level of commitment, you're like a Rottweiler. You know what I mean? Like, just loyal, committed, fierce about it, unwavering. That level of commitment is unique in people, right? From where you were to where you are today, the intention was clear. Yeah. Look at your body physically. Look at the health you have. Look at your new wife. Look at the health you have mentally and socially. Like, the intention was clear. And again, and I hate to be this redundant, but like, you took massive action to get here. It was like, you are the like ideal client, student, whatever you were, right? And now you're my peer, brother. Like, you now are that exact example of what CIA really means. Yep.
So if I had to say one note to knowing you and the way that I've seen you change, I've seen you get richer in the fact of when you got married and when you had a kid. I feel like those things changed you. Yeah. It didn't change like your heart or anything, but what it changes, I think it changed a lot of your intention. The intentions are even deeper now than they were before. And I can see that in you. I can see that in all your social media and everything. So if there was one thing I could say about you and changing, is when you got married and had a kid, it made you a deeper person. And I actually connect deeper with you now than I did then. I look at you in the eyes now, and it's a completely different connection than it was 4 years ago. It's not because of where I'm at or what's changed in my life. It's what you've done, in your life. Has anybody ever told you that?
No.
Yep. But see, I've seen that.
I appreciate you.
And I know that about you. And it's really funny. It's like me. It's like how my marriage changed and how all of my tensions become deeper. Yep. You know why they become deeper? It's because I had somebody to share it with.
There you go.
And if I didn't have somebody to share it with, it was always here. And once you start sharing what you're really about, and once you get married and actually have a kid, everything changes in the fact that you actually start finding a purpose, right? Because now you're teaching, you see a little you see an infant, all of a sudden now you have to answer to somebody, right? And your whole world shifts. And for you, it's been for the best. Thank God, because sometimes that's not the best, right? Totally. And I just want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you, brother. Well, I appreciate it. Well, thank you for blessing my audience, my show. I appreciate it. We should do this more often.
For sure.
Everyone needs to follow you. He's huge in real estate, guys. He's now in the scene. Now he's speaking on stages. Like, the development this man has gone through is incredible. And just for clarity, you too, watching or listening to this on iTunes or YouTube, you never know where you can be in 4 years. He was not a speaker. He was not an educator. He was not in that spot then. That progress anyone can achieve if they are committed and have intention and take action.
Yep. And if you ever want to speak, you got to get around people like you and me, more like you because you've been in it longer than me. And then you got to follow these people. You got to get close to them. Yeah. You're going to have to pay to get there. It's not free. So you need to go make some money. You need to get mentors, and that'll get you to there.
Hell yeah, bro.
You know, and it's like now, like I'm not speaking at this event, but I spoke at like Clever Summit with Cody and them. And it's like I have to show up to support everybody and to stay in the connection and support them for when I'm speaking now.
100%.
You know, it's like today, why did I drive down here? I drove down here and took a day out of my life to support every single person and cheer them on. So if you ever start speaking, that's part of it.
Yep. And we can go down this path. It'll take us too long. But I'm going to talk about like paying to sit at the table. It's a real thing. Last year, I spent $115,000 on coaching.
Yep.
I've already spent another 30 this year. The year before that was 85,000. And I do that because I need to always be surrounding myself with better. You're a great example of that. But people really need to believe that. Because if you want to be at the table you're not at, the fastest way there is just buy a seat.
Yep.
Right? And from there, it can get you to a lot of other things. Hopefully, maybe you start doing events if you want. I'll always support you doing stuff like that. But like, I just think people need to understand the value of like cutting to the front of the line.
Yep. Well, It's like I'm at a point now where I have so much value to offer that I don't pay anymore. The funny thing is I'm getting invited.
That's right.
But
and you did initially, and that's what now you get these invitations.
Yeah. The only thing I pay for, and if I pay for, I pay in opposite ways. One thing, if you're going to do something, do it completely different than everybody else. I do it for like such a way like I'm helping Chris, right? And, you know, he's $100,000 to even talk to him on the phone, right? I've only known Chris 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks when we spoke at Clever Summit. And I'm like, hey, you need help, you know, on your Breakthrough Foundation. I'm like, I'm going to raise $500,000. I've got $242,000 raised for him, and I've known him two and a half weeks.
Good for you.
So my way in is by giving, not paying. I pay it in a different way now. I call it pay it forward.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
And I bring all of my people, and I make them pay. And then what I do with them is I take them and I go, hey, these are the donors. I go, hey, Chris, these are your big donors. They're going to go on my jet. We're going to go up to his place, and I'm going to bring all them. Now I got all those people surrounded by me that's rooting me on. That's, hey, you got to know Nick, right? And that's how I'm building my network. I'm doing it different than nobody else does it.
I love that, dude.
Yeah.
I love that, man. I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Go follow Nick. If you're listening to this on iTunes, give this one a 5-star for sure. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. I'll see you in the next podcast episode.